Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, your one stop for everything models, figures, and tools alike. And in today's video we are going to be covering another Hathaway mech, and that is none other than the RX-104FF Penelope from the Hathaway movie. This model actually came out in 2019, so this has been in my backlog for a little while. And with the new announcement from the Hathaway movie that's going to be coming out shortly, I thought it would be a great opportunity to dive into the RX-104 and 105 model kits. So let's roll opening and launch the Penelope and see what it all comes inside the box. And here we have the Penelope, and this is a really large box, as we can see, and I just love the art depiction of a lot of these mechs that they do. So I always love appreciating the art that they actually go into developing and designing a lot of these mechs. And so because it gives us a good inside view of what we're going to be building in this video. Now, moving into this side of the box, we see a variety of cool poses and weapons on here. So this is already looking really nice, where it actually has a separate unit, and I believe this one is the Oddyseus Gundam with the Penelope flight unit. So that's actually kind of cool, and that's actually a little bit different than the RX-105, where it actually was a full suit. This actually has a smaller Gundam that actually goes with the large armor here, making it the Penelope. So this is going to be a really fun model kit. So let's actually open this box up and see all the parts. And we are greeted with a ton of plastic, and I mean a lot of plastic in here. So we got a lot of whites, and I can already tell there's going to be a lot of really nice detail we're going to be able to do for like panel lining. So just like the RX-105, we're going to have fun with doing a lot of painting. We have nice armor pieces here for a lot of the inner frame. We do have a nice sticker sheet, so it looks like most of everything is going to be a light red, some gray, and one yellow piece. So I'm going to definitely like that, where we only have to paint one piece yellow, and I think that piece is going to be white as the base color, making that easier to paint. And now we actually have some of the wing armor that we actually see for the Penelope, and that is actually fairly good size armor. And we do have little areas for funnels or little rockets that we can see, like right in here, that we can actually take a look, and we can see right in here there's some spots where we can have some weapons. And on the flip side, we can actually see a lot of those nice little rocket launchers right here in funnels. So this is going to be a really fun kit. And we got even more armor. This is actually looking almost like the size of like the Cassandra for some of its armor. We have really nice chunk here, and the panel lining on these are actually really nice, as we can see through the plastic. And yeah, here's more of the Penelope's frontal part for the nose. So that's going to be really fun to go and paint all of this and do the panel lining necessary for this. And it looks like it does come with two lovely little beam sabers. And I am extremely happy that I see so much yellow, actually. So I am really thrilled, because that is going to save me so much time and effort with painting. Because those who have been in the modeling hobby know that white, yellow, and any opaque paints are a bit of a challenge to paint. So I always love when they have large amount of yellow. So that saves me on painting and just needing to go through and do some light panel lining just to highlight some of those lines. But overall, it is looking really nice, and a lot of these parts are really big. And we have more, and it looks like we do actually have some really cool clear parts. So I'm actually kind of excited to see where those little clear parts are going to be. It's probably going to be more for the visor on the Penelope's nose for its sensor. And then we have some basic armor pieces. And yeah, we do have a bit of the chest armor. It's going to be a lot of fun. And last but not least, starting off with this, we have some more of the armor pieces for the Penelope's armor. And this is the part that I am really excited for, is this actually comes with a action stand. So these are the ones that I always really like, the little treat that they give us when they actually give us a stand with these model kits. Now moving on to the instruction manual. This thing is less of an instruction manual and more of like a pamphlet. This thing is actually pretty thick. So I'm probably going to just do a brief through as we normally do when we expect our instruction manual to make sure all of our parts are accounted for. And it's looking like this is going to have a lot of really cool fun, especially with being able to do in flight mode and the Oddyseus Gundam version where we have the Penelope unit as separate from the main units. So I like how they give us the option of both. But getting into that, we basically have our straightforward instructions, and this is looking like there is a lot of parts as we can see in here, and it shows us how all of the armor actually does go on to the Oddyseus Gundam. So that is really nice. And I also love stopping and looking at the centerfold, especially when it shows us the evolution for some of these Gundams, and it shows us in what universe all of these actually go into. So that's actually really kind of cool. So that's the one thing I always love with these, especially the newer ones where they actually have it all in English. So continuing on, we show how all of the cool armor for the Penelope is actually applied on here. So this may actually be a quicker build, even though it is a very chunky mech. And as we can see, there's a lot of really cool gimmicks that it can actually do for posability for its armor. And yeah, this is already looking really nice, and it's pretty self-explanatory, and so it's really nice on how all of that armor is actually put together and how it actually comes apart to put it with just that and to make just the Penelope unit in its solitary form, leaving us with the back page, which shows us a bit of the gimmicks of this, rear view weaponry for this, and the action poses that this actually has. So I'm really thrilled with actually how well this already looks, and I can't wait to actually start building this. So with that, let's actually take a look and see what the Penelope looks like fully completed. And now this is what the Penelope looks like fully constructed, and there is just a mountain of armor on this particular kit. And yeah, there's actually a unit sitting inside of here that all of this goes around and can come apart. To give a scale of how actually big this model actually is, we're going to switch over to a aerial view, and we can actually pull out its tail. And yeah, that is really long, and it's still pretty wide. I have to do it at a cockeyed for the camera angle just to have everything fit in here. So this is a massive kit for a 1/44 scale. It's almost on the same level as the Nightingale from that I haven't built yet, but the 1/100 scale was just enormous. So this is going to be a really interesting one to compare the different sizes with these bulk armors. Speaking of armor, this actually is just a suit of armor while a actual unit sits inside of the model. And the name of that mech is actually the Oddyseus. So with everything combined, it turns into the Penelope, but the mech itself that's inside is called the Oddyseus. So let's actually look at what this looks completely separated and get a kind of a cool idea of how everything just kind of goes around. And this is what they look separate. And as you can quite see, this is still a fairly large Gundam compared to most of the other 144 scales. So this still is a beast. And now we can actually look at the articulation a little bit better. So we can actually see how the legs actually bend really well. And the armor on these are really solid with how well the articulation and how well the joints hold up. So that's actually really nice. So we can actually see how well this actually is, and you can see all the really nice detail with this, especially with the face, all the panel lining on here. Bandai did a phenomenal job with developing this Oddyseus Gundam. So I'm really happy with actually how well this actually turned out. And as you can see, there's just a lot of nice little panel line detail that you can just go and just have a field day just going and panel lining every single little crevice on here. Even the rifle has quite a bit of panel lining. And I did do quite a bit of painting for some areas that required some stickers. Like here, I just used a Gundam marker, a red metallic Gundam marker for that. Same with its other shoulder, its visor. So I hand painted all of that we can actually see. So I hand painted all of that. And so just did a bunch of panel lining for a lot of the vents on this particular unit. Now moving on to the Penelope armor, and as we can see from this is just a behemoth. And this actually is really cool that it gives us a transformation like this, where we can actually have the armor all just really nicely on display. So that is really nice, and I really do like that attention to detail for these particular kits, especially when you get additional add-on. I only saw this roughly with the Iron Blood Orphans armor that actually has where it can actually come apart and add to it. So I do like how it does have that feature where this can come on and off. Alright everyone, that's going to conclude this unboxing and build review of the RX-104FF Penelope, and this was a phenomenal kit. It was a very large model kit. This is probably one of the largest 144 scales I've actually built, just because of the sheer amount of armor and parts this actually does have. And the fact that this is separatable gives it a lot of play, as we can see the armor right here and the unit right here. So this is really interesting that we can actually separate the Penelope armor from the Oddyseus Gundam right here. So that was really cool. So what would I actually rate this model out of 10? I would actually rate this model a 9 out of 10. The only reason why it doesn't get a 10 out of 10 is, again, some of the stickers. I don't really like stickers. I prefer a lot of part separation, so a lot of the detail on here could have been separate pieces where you could literally just stick in, especially with the sensors on here. You could have easily had a part separation, just like the nose portion of the Penelope here with the red and orange. You could have easily done a blue and a yellow piece where you just snap them together, just like the fins. And that's another thing with this, is just mostly I had to paint a little bit to get some of the detail on here, and this was heavy panel lining. So that was the one thing that took me the longest time, was just going in and panel lining everything on this. But overall, I actually highly recommend getting this kit, especially if you have the shelf space for it. This thing is fairly big, where I may even have a hard time trying to find a home onto that shelf, since that's actually bigger than the RX-105. So yeah, that's going to be a fun place to try to find a home for this. But overall, it is a phenomenal build, and I highly recommend it. And with that, please like and subscribe. You guys are what's making this channel grow. And definitely comment down below on what you thought of this particular model. Have you actually bought this one, or are you contemplating on buying this one? Or are you actually interested in buying the new one that's going to be coming out later in the year that Bandai just announced? And with that, I hope to see you guys in the next video. Until then, stay built.